Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you in the building. Tonight, I'm going to talk about a journey that I went on for 87 days, ended yesterday. And it starts with having a specific goal, being really clear is really key to being productive. And for 87 days, I set my systems up to ensure that I was able to complete four goals for my content creation. And tonight, what I want to do is share what I stopped doing to accomplish those four goals because there were some things that I was doing that I needed to stop. And then the techniques I used along the way, some I picked up, lessons I learned, but I used them every day during that time. And those four techniques is setting a specific, measurable, achievable goal that includes an end date, setting aside time, a specific time every day to work toward that goal, doing the work that has a return on the investment to achieve it, and then using automation to assign work within your systems. These are four techniques that I used over and over again. And before I get into these four items in detail, I want to say welcome to the show. And this is Florence Donald. I am with you here from Purposeful Productivity, and I am a productivity practitioner. I'm a coach. I help purpose driven leaders and entrepreneurs find and fix friction points in your productivity system. I do that here on this channel with videos, and I do it in other avenues, which you'll hear about through coaching and building community, online community where we are supporting each other and working together. And I also do it through putting out other types of content, social media posts, blog posts, which you'll hear about. But that's what Purposeful Productivity is about. And I want to say hello to a couple of people who are out there this evening. I'm always excited to have you all with me. So I want to say hello. I'm going to start with Gangsta Grandma. Miss Gretchen, so glad to have you in the building this evening, ma'am. And I shouldn't call you ma'am. Oh, lady, you are not on top of a ladder listening to me. Please be careful. Please be careful. And then I'm going to say hello to Frank Jackson. Welcome to the show. And you're here in the lounge with me. Good to have you here with me. And yes, indeed. Happy Friday, Live Tribe from the Emotional CEO. And you may be listening and not able to comment. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you. And if you're watching this on replay, watch all the way through. There are some lessons. These are personal things that I've gone through over the last 87 days. And I'm simply sharing my journey with you with the intent of me sharing, helping you in something that you have set your sights on to achieve. So let's get into the 4 points that I talked about. And those are number one, let's see if I can do this right. Number one is setting specific, measurable, achievable goals that include an end date. And we all have heard this, right? We've heard about SMART goals. We've taken public speaking courses and went to lectures and read books and watched videos. We've heard about it. And I've even taught those classes professionally. But it means smart. Smart means specific, being very specific about the thing that you want to achieve. And the A is attainable. The M is measurable, something you can measure. Either you did it or you didn't do it. It worked or it didn't work. It's not a feeling, it's not fuzzy, it's very sharp and crystal clear for you. A is achievable. It's something you can do, but it will probably stretch you a little bit outside of your comfort zone. I was definitely stretched over during this period. R is realistic. Is the thing to me achievable and realistic go hand in hand. It's something that could be achievable, but it also has to have some realism to it. Is it realistic for you to do the thing that you're setting up? For example, it's achievable for me to say that I'm going to ride a motorcycle. Is it realistic for me to say I'm going to ride a motorcycle? Not at all. Nope. 2 feet planted firmly on the ground. Got on a motorcycle one time, said I'd never do it again, and I haven't. And I was 17 when that happened. I haven't been on a motorcycle since I was 17. So, nope, not doing that. Not realistic. And T is for time bound. It has to have an end date somewhere that you're shooting for. So, those SMART goals is where I started. And for me, this started back in the spring when I was watching a live stream from a gentleman by the name of Doc Rock. Some of you may know him. And I'm going to drop the video, a link to the video that I was watching in chat. But I was watching him do this live stream, and he asked a critical question, and he challenged the audience that day, the viewers, the community, to take something in their content creation, a goal, not a bunch, one goal, and focus on doing something to achieve it every day for 15 minutes for 87 days. It was to end on July 4th, which it was yesterday. So, me, I'm a little bit at times an overachiever. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my Midwestern roots. I don't know. Anyway, didn't set one goal. I set four. So what were those? What were those goals? One was to launch FlorenceDonald.live as a fully built out website. I had a landing page up, but I wanted a fully built out website, and this thing had been lingering and lingering and lingering and wasn't getting done. The number two was to move my community membership to the website platform where the website was going to live. Number three was relaunching the membership along with the system, or together along with assisting my current members with transferring from the previous site to the new community environment. The next one's launching a blog with regular articles being published. That was the toughest one for me. And the last one was developing live stream show topics through the end of 2024, the 2024 calendar year, and developing show briefs for my designer to have earlier than when I have been giving them to him. Don't cuss me, but just saying. But these were the goals that I set to be completed by July 4th, which was yesterday. I actually finished them on Monday, July 1st. So I finished them 3 days early. That's a win. They're not perfect. There's more work to do in each of those areas. But there is a saying in my industry, version 1 is better than version none. So we're on version 1, and they will get improved. There will be iterations, evolution, improvements, enhancements over time. But they're out there. They are accomplished. So, how did I do this? I set aside, I set those goals. I wrote them down. I looked at them every single day. As I was going along, when I first started, I was all excited and hyped and just all into it. And I was going like gangbusters. In fact, I was doing more than 15 minutes. Roy, hey, come to the lounge, Roy. I want to have you come and talk with us. If you're in a place where you can. If you can come, you have the link already where we were on Sunday. Especially because you're part of the beta group for the lounge. So what I found though, about 3 weeks in, that started to wane and it started to get harder and harder and harder for me to be consistent in when that 15 minutes was happening. I was doing it, but it was getting more difficult. So I had to employ some techniques to get out of that. I thought it was going to be easy. It was not. It was way more challenging than I thought it was going to be. You all are misbehaving out there today. But what I had to do to deal with the first roadblock was that I stopped myself. I said, I committed to 15 minutes. I'm going to do the thing that I need to do. I employed the technique of time blocking by putting 15 minutes on my calendar every day at the same time. Every day, 7 days a week at the same time. I also made the decision to time box. I would not go more than 15 minutes. In the early first week or two, I was so excited. I was staying up much later than I should. I was getting up much earlier than I should. I was not cooking. I was like doing all the wrong things. And I know better. I don't know if you do something and you know better, but you're not doing it anyway. Well, that was me. When I went through this reevaluation, when I started to hit the roadblocks, it forced me to use techniques that I teach other people to use: time blocking and time boxing. That was the first thing that I did. The second thing I did was plan ahead week by week. I employed the technique of breaking down the big goal into small milestones. And each week, I decided what milestone I wanted to reach for and work toward. That was the second part of that. So, those were the specific goals. The next thing was I just talked about setting aside, if I can talk, specific time every day, 7 days a week. Not skipping a day, not giving myself a day off, not giving myself an excuse, but really focused on those 15 minutes of working toward one of those four goals. And what I had to learn was I could not work on all four of them simultaneously. So I broke them down and said, I'm going to finish goal one, goal two, and goal three. Now, for me, I had other things going on in my life, just as you do, right? I have another career, I have family, I had other organizations that I work with. I have ministry work that I do, friends. So I had other activities that were gaining my attention. That's why this blocking and boxing was so important. All of those other things that could take my attention and distract me from the goals, I was able to get around it by setting aside this time and time boxing. The third thing I did was focus on doing the work that was going to get me a return on investment. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I did only those activities or those tasks that would lead to accomplishing a milestone. If it was shiny and bright and interesting, but it wasn't going to get me toward achieving one of the milestones, I did not put it on my list. I used my next action list, my action planner, to know exactly what I was going to do week by week, day by day. And I incorporated that planning in my weekly review. So I broke down those milestones into daily objectives to reach, and they had to be completed. They had to be small enough that I could complete them in 15 minutes. So that was key to get through this whole process, was not allowing myself more time than I should and staying committed and budgeting the time very carefully that I had so that I would only work on those activities that had a return on the investment of the time that I was putting in. So by focusing on those objectives, they led to completing milestone after milestone after milestone. It also forced me to eliminate any work that did not have a return associated with these goals. So anything that wasn't that I could be doing, it forced me get rid of it. Don't think of that. Don't think of all the things that you can do. Focus your mind, your energy on these measurable goals that you've set. So is the last one is using automation to assign work to your systems. So much of the time we think to get help we have to have other people, and other people are very important. I am super blessed that I have people who work with me, who support me. And there is absolutely, let me say this without a doubt or a question, there is no way I would have accomplished these goals without the support and the help that I got. But I also had to step back and relook at the automations I had set up in my environment, because it was key for me to automate things that I had not yet taken the time to automate. So that led me back to look at my core tools for getting work done. So, what were they? I use OmniFocus for my task manager. My productivity system of notes, task management, calendar communication, and managing projects is what I'm focused on. I use OmniFocus. Later, you in a little bit, you'll hear me talk about what I did was I built projects in drafts, which is a text application that I could automate and very quickly build that same project inside of OmniFocus. I also built views inside of our OmniFocus that only showed me the tasks that were related to the goal that I was working on for that day. So if it was one task or five tasks that would fit in 15 minutes, that's the only thing I saw. I did not see a list of 50 items. I only saw that 1 to 3, no more than 5 tasks inside of my task management for that day. So I did more automations with my task manager, OmniFocus, to build those projects and tasks, set deadlines and reminders that I only had to do them once. I didn't have to keep redoing it, and created those views that zeroed in on that very narrow set of tasks that I worked with. The next thing I did was I made sure that all my notes that were necessary are housed in the notes application I use. You hear me talk about it. I use Evernote, and I made sure that all my notes that I needed were in the notebooks that I had set up in Evernote. I do quite a bit of capturing of just plain text in an application called Drafts. It's just a plain, there's nothing to it. You open it up, it's a blank page. What it has, however, is automations that lets me move that content to different places. So if I was brainstorming a list of items, I didn't have to do anything with that list other than push a button, and it would break those individual items into individual tasks and push it into OmniFocus, into the projects that I had designed the way I did the automation. If I was gathering information or writing out notes, to go into Evernote, I push a button and it would add it to my project management note in Evernote, because it can add on or tack on to the end of an existing note in Evernote. So I didn't have to open different applications to move that data around. I did the automations. This is about automation, the core of which was just a button push. Like literally, I made it a button push and I didn't have to think about where things were going or how they were going. So drafts on the Mac, OmniFocus on the Mac, Evernote on the Mac were key. I also knew what emails that I had to send out or had planned to send out week by week, I would write those, and have them sitting scheduled ready to go on the day that they needed to go out. So I did that little bit of automation early. I didn't have to stop on a specific day at a specific time. So anything that I was sending to my community as a reminder or a newsletter, I have a content I send to a specific group of people every week called Weekly Recap. It's a more intimate set of content that I share with them. That was all scheduled ahead of time. I did a little bit of tweaking, especially on that last one on Sunday because it goes out every Sunday. I do a little bit of tweaking to make sure what I say is right up through Sunday, and then it was ready to go. I also have people that I send reminders to. I set up Apple shortcuts. Again, my environment is all Mac, but you can do this if your environment is Windows. I set up Apple shortcuts to send scheduled regular reminders to various people, not only working with me in the content creation, but also working with me in other organizations that I work with. I am in the Toastmasters organization, for example, and I have a mentor, for example, and I'm connected with other content creators. So reminders and notes that I wanted to make sure that I got to all of these different constituents and people, I scheduled them using Apple shortcuts so that they would go out without me having to do anything other than set it up and let it go. So automation is key to getting some of this communications done. And I literally sometimes, most of the time, will even voice write these types of communications because it sounds more like me because I'm saying it instead of formally writing it. And I use drafts for that because it has a great dictation engine in it, better than just about anything else I've used. Is drafts. So if you haven't tried it, try it. It's phenomenal. Um, so I did all of this over the last 87 days. Now I talked about, but I want to talk about the other goals. So getting the website out, I'm going to try to show you what it looks like. So here's the website. It may not be totally readable, but that's not the point. The design, all of that was not me. I don't do that. I have somebody who does it, who's a professional designer. But it has this homepage on it. If you scroll down, you can down toward the bottom of the page, you'll see that you can join my email list. Across the top are some menu choices. So if you'll see there's a blog. That was one of the goals, was to get the blog done. It's up and running. There are a couple of articles out there already. Articles out there already. And one of the things I had to do was figure out my process for creating and making sure that I could get the blog out. And I started by focusing on writing. And after I struggled a few weeks, I realized I needed to figure out the process first. So took a step back, and one of the milestones was get the process, at least version one of it, nailed down, written in a checklist so that I could follow it and know what I was doing. And then for me, I could go ahead and do the content. I have to have a plan. My brain doesn't work well if I'm winging it, quite frankly. There's the community that people can join. There are free tools on the site. So if my helper can click on the menu choice that goes to resources, I believe, on the website. I'm actually not driving the screen. Someone else is driving the screen. Up at the top in the menu, up at the top in the menu, where it says resources, all the way at the top in the menu. Yep. So these are other places where you can find me, of course, the show, the Purposeful Productivity Engine is the blog, the Monday motivation or videos that I started producing, and then you'll see a gear list in book list. I'm a big book reader, so I included a few books, and I'll change those out over time. Gear that I use. So this is all stuff that was getting built. I needed to be able to put it, wrap it around the inside of the website. So the website is the hub for everything. If you go to the menu choice at the top that says services, then you all will see. If you go to the website again, florencedonald.live, it's here on the screen. You can navigate around. You can schedule some time with me on my calendar. You can see what else I have. But this, all of this, the blog, the website itself, the community that's built out and ready to go on the website were all things that got done in this last 87 days in 15-minute increments of work. What I want to leave you with is understand that you can do a lot in very small amounts of time. You really can. So if you have a question, what I'm going to ask you to do is put a Q colon in front of it and ask your question. And while I'm giving you time to ask questions, I'm going to say hello to some other friends who are out there because I see y'all. And let's see. Hey, Roy. How? Why is it not? There it goes. And thank you. I appreciate that. I'm simple. And Yolanda, so nice meeting you today in the meetup. And I'm glad it's very helpful, especially for the ideas on organization. Absolutely. If you have any questions about organization, about productivity, about systems, please feel free to reach out to me. How to get there is on the website. And let's see, I did see somebody else. I thought, here's my other friend. Happy Friday, Ibrahim. So glad to see you in the building, sir. And hello, Miss Inanea. How are you doing? I hope all is well with you as well. I'm glad to have you all in the building with me this evening. And if you have a question, please go ahead and I'm looking to see if I missed anybody else who slid in when I wasn't looking. Thank you, Miss Gretchen. I appreciate that comment. I kicked it. I appreciate it. And thank you, Yolanda, for the note of congratulations. I appreciate it all. Um, I said that one of them had been hanging out. I had been tinkering around with this website forever. And I was like, this is the one thing that feels like I'm never going to get it done. And so I was able to get it done. And now I've set a new goal to reach. So as we go through this month of July, I'm going to be talking about these basic productivity things, tools, techniques, ideas for being organized that will hopefully help you in something that you want to do. This is the one of the main things to think about cuz is focus on something specific. Very specific. Because if you try to focus on everything, nothing will get done. Ask me how I know. Queen of trying to do too many things and nothing gets done. So focus, focus, focus. Get very clear on something specific. You don't have to make it 87 days. It could be a 5-day goal, it could be 10 days, it could be whatever, but something that's achievable, that's measurable, that you can then break down into small milestones. If 15 minutes is too long, make it 10. If you have more availability, maybe make it 30. I personally learned so much for myself going through this process that I kind of, it's fuzzy, but it got very clear for me. And these are basics, starting with what the goal is. That is the main thing. What is your goal? Let me say, I could not set a goal that I couldn't measure or reasonably know that I could achieve. It made me stretch. Let me give you an example of something that I started out thinking about before I settled on it. I want to reach a certain number of subscribers at YouTube. I have no way of controlling, no way to control how many people subscribe to my channel. None. So that was going to be a foolhardy goal for me to set. I could have set a goal to produce more video on the channel, but that wasn't something that I was going to do right then. I wanted to get the website done because that's the infrastructure to support you all as the community and anyone else who wants to reach out, who wants resources. That's the place it's going to live. Even links to the videos are on the website. The community portion, videos, links to things that are not publicly available. You heard me mention the lounge. I'm beta testing having community members join me live at various sessions where I'm live streaming, other times where I'm recording, other times where we're doing internal community only education sessions, a place where it's a little bit more intimate, very personal information stays there. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, what happens in the lounge stays in the lounge. And so all of that setup and design can be done and planned and executed in very small amounts of time. It all comes back to one simple principle: be crystal clear and specific on what it is you want to achieve, not everything in your life, some specific part of your life, and then set your sail or set up your systems to support that thing. That's what I would love to leave you with tonight. I'm going to check and see if I see any Q colons out here anywhere. And if I do, I'll answer it. And if I don't, I will not force you. So I did see a couple of other comments. Doo-doo-doo. I'm going to scroll here and get down to the bottom. Get down to the bottom. Gretchen says, I'm a retired librarian. I bow down to Florence's level of systems and organizations. I need to be taking lessons from you as a professional librarian. Need to be taking lessons from you. I'm sure you can teach me a lot. And Yolanda says, my mom is also a retired librarian. Love that. You must be great at organization. Also, Gretchen is an absolute, she doesn't know it. I sneak and watch her stuff on YouTube, but she is a fabulous photographer. She calls herself the gangster grandma. But she is a fabulous, and this may be, Gretchen, tell me if this is correct. Is it nature? Is like being a nature photographer like a real specialty within the world of photography? I think it is. I'm not a photographer, so I'm asking because I honestly, truthfully, I don't know. So I want to handle what you do with respect because I do respect what you do. So, nothing else. We're going to be talking about basics 101, productivity 101 throughout the month of July. And then in August, we'll start something new. I am Florence Donald. I'm here to support you. Come by and see me anytime. Glad to have you here. With that, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to stick a video right here. Go watch it. It'll be something about productivity, and I hope you enjoy it. Glad to have you in the building with us again. Good night, everybody.